you're just coming out the other end of having carried for 2 years in your body, 3 years in your body, Lyme disease. And that got you, understandably so, extremely depressed. Can you tell us more about that?
Yeah, so for those of you that don't know what Lyme disease is, you get it from a tick bite, and it's a really, normally, for most people, you'll notice it because you get you'll be walking out in the forest or just walked your dog, you'll come back and you'll see this little bullseye. But I, unfortunately, didn't have the little bullseye, so I don't know when I was bitten. It could have been years ago, and for some reason it was triggered in my body in kind of January, February of 2014, when I was still Marcia's flatmate, and it was like from Jekyll to Hyde. I remember it started little by little with just, I didn't have as much patience. I felt myself changing and I didn't know what was going on. I was more fatigued. I had less patience, which I'm not the most patient person, but it went to zero. So I remember one night Marcia had gone out and she'd come back in with her heels and she was just tip-tapping along and I lost it the next morning because I couldn't sleep. And I was quiet, so I was giving her the silent treatment, and she went, "What is going on?" And I went, "Brah!" Like I just lost it, which was not me. It changed me. And that happened a lot with not just Marcia, but with other people that I loved greatly, but I was reacting and I didn't know why. And I began to then become more of a hermit, just to close myself off from other people because I thought, I don't know how I'm going to react. And also, Lyme affects you in very different ways. For me, I was very fatigued, and I could never gauge when a fatigue attack was going to come and how long it was going to last. In the worst case, I was signed off work for about 2.5 months, where I was sleeping for 16 to 18 hours a day.
No way.
I couldn't even get up. I'd get up and try and make myself a bowl of cereal, and I'd fall asleep halfway through. So it was like taking a shower. That was an accomplishment.
Wow.
And I was actually even scared if someone said they were going to come over and visit, because I was like, I have not showered in 3 days. Like, no one wants to see me, right? So it was a huge change, because although I love being around people and I love going out and just hanging out and having good conversation, I couldn't do that because I would make an appointment and then 20 minutes before, my body would shut down and I'd have to flake. And after a while, people get a bit tired. So they stop inviting you to things. And then you stop attending, or you stop saying, oh yeah, I'll come along. It brought me to a very dark and lonely place. It made me very anxious because I didn't know when I was gonna next have another attack. I also became an insomniac, weirdly. Even though I was quite tired, I just couldn't sleep. So then my thoughts were going over it, on and on and on in my head. And one of the other ways that it affected me was it acted a little bit like Alzheimer's, and it's called neuroborreliosis. And so it's when Lyme disease actually affects your neurons and affects your ability to express or think. And for me, I speak 5 languages fluently, and I forgot simple words like spoon or chair. And it just wouldn't come, and I'd be talking and I'd feel really stupid because I couldn't express myself. And for those of you who know me, that is one of my strong points. I'm articulate. So to lose that meant I lost part of who I was, and that was hard because I thought, I don't know what this is, because I had this for 3 years and I did not know what it was, and I went to different doctors and no one could actually give me a concrete diagnosis. And I remember about 2 months before I was diagnosed, I was so desperate, and I heard about the juice fast, and so I did a juice fast for 30 days, and that was pretty extreme, but I came out of that and I felt so good. And it's true what Kat is saying, what you put in your body, it does affect, but I thought I can't subsist on juice. I liked it, but it's not for forever, right? I mean, I want a glass of wine.
You need to have some fried chicken.
Right? Yeah. I want some chips.
Hashtag don't talk that.
Right. Totally don't talk that. So I became very desperate, and I had a really good GP who kept on pushing me, and I ended up going to see a naturopath,
right,
who had a background in infectious diseases and who diagnosed me. And it was funny because at the point of diagnosis, Whereas where everyone was super happy that we finally figured out, you know, what was going on, that was my darkest moment of depression. Do you know that that was when it actually hit me what I had been battling, what I had been carrying, and the darkness that had been over me for 3 years? Like, that moment, like, that was the hardest thing, and I didn't know how to get over that. I really didn't know how to get over that, and I was actually quite ashamed. It was the first time I was actually quite ashamed to say, I think I need some help. And I secretly went and found a very, very good psychologist, and I ended up going to see her. And I wasn't telling anyone that I was seeing him, because I was just like, people are gonna look at me like I'm crazy, because they're not gonna understand. They're expecting me to be happy, but I'm not, and I don't know how to find joy in this diagnosis, because I wasn't quite sure that even though we had diagnosed it and I was on my way and my treatment plan, that it would actually ever leave me, that I would actually get all my words back. And I mean, it's now been almost 2 years since diagnosis. It's been a year and a couple of months since I've been off my treatment. And I still get mini fatigue, but it's nothing too bad. I still, when I get tired, I still forget words. English is not my first language, so I'm able to go, oh, what's that word in English again? And then I'll, you know, kind of mask it like that. I would say for those going through it, I know it seems impossible right now, but you will get through this. And when you do, don't forget that place that you were in, because you'll be able to share with someone else going through that. So whatever, you know, it's like Beyonce says, and like everyone says, you know, life gives you lemons, you make lemonade. And
or a gin and tonic.
For me, that's taken the form of doing a trek to the Antarctic, which is pretty crazy.
Pretty cool, literally.
But to raise awareness on Lyme disease, because I was told I'd never be able to do any strenuous exercise anymore, and I'd be on antibiotics for the rest of my life. And I was told all these negative reports by physicians and by specialists, by people that know their stuff. And sometimes it's very easy to believe that, but you must know your body, like you must know yourself. I would say I now live for, you know, getting to the South Pole, putting the Aruban flag down in the South Pole, and again putting that flag down and going for all those specialists that told me I could not, in your face, you know. You know, I am doing this so that others can know that they can also get through whatever it is they're going through. And if that means you look for help, or you cry out, you go, I cannot do this anymore, do whatever you need to do to get well again. But know that you will get well again.
Good on you, girl.
Yeah.
Great. Good on you. Next time on the 7 series. And our hope is that you choose life. You know, just have one more conversation. Try.